Angry twins smashed their billionaire boss's car, then discovered his 8-year secret. Before Lagos woke, before Danfo buses filled the roads with shouts of Ojalegba, Yaba, CMS, before smoke from roasted corn rose into the damp air, Mary was already on her knees scrubbing the marble floor of an office she would never own. Her hands were cracked from soap, her knees raw from years of bending, but she kept moving. The air smelled of bleach and diesel from the humming generator. She was invisible in the building she had cleaned for nearly a decade. Her teenage twins, David and Daniela, waited at the bus stop with torn school bags, pretending not to notice how tired their mother looked when she left. They loved her fiercely, but Lagos never cared. That morning, everything broke. Her boss, Julian Cole, billionaire real estate developer, walked through the lobby, sharp suit, sharper eyes. He didn't greet her, didn't look at her. His voice was ice. "Pack your things. We don't need you anymore." The mop slipped from her hands. Silence spread across the staff. Her eyes stung, but she swallowed the tears. That evening, rage consumed her twins. At the company's car park, under yellow lights, they picked up stones. Glass shattered across Julian's black Range Rover, raining onto the asphalt like broken stars. They stood panting, hearts racing, as if destroying the car could erase the humiliation. Mary screamed at them, tears falling. "Do you want to ruin your lives for me?" But the twins turned away, fists clenched, anger drowning out reason. Mary's life had not always been this way. Once, she had a husband in Suralere who sang to her before dawn. Then he left for business in Port Harcourt and never came back. What he left behind were debts and 2 children who bore his face. Rain leaked through the ceiling. Pots sat empty. Bread was shared in 3 thin pieces. Mary held the family together with cleaning jobs on Lagos Island. Her twins studied by candlelight when NEPA cut power. David's bag had only 1 strap. Daniela wore mismatched socks but polished her shoes until they shone. Some days, when they came home with school receipts mysteriously marked paid, Mary would whisper, "An angel is watching us." She never knew who, and the children never asked. Her pride was simple. We may not have much, but we have each other. It was enough, until Julian's voice cut it down. But her story with Julian had begun years earlier. At a church charity event under a cracked wooden cross, Mary served food to strangers. A younger Julian walked in, not yet hardened by money. He carried cartons of rice for the poor. His watch glinted, but his smile was soft. When their hands touched over the same tray, she felt seen for the first time since her husband's betrayal. That night, he gave her bread. "For your children," he said. She walked home whispering, "Maybe life still remembers me." After that, Julian sometimes left food for her twins, sometimes gave her a ride when rain beat down. Her friend Ruth warned her, "Men like that shine too bright. Gold that shines too bright can burn your hand." Mary brushed it aside, choosing hope over caution. But betrayal came. One evening, she overheard Julian's assistants laugh. "She really thinks he cares? She's just another cleaner he pities." Her hands shook, a tray slipped, shattered into shards. When she asked Julian later, his face hardened. His words cut. "Don't mistake kindness for closeness. Know your place." And now, years later, when he fired her in public, those words came back like poison. The smashed Range Rover brought fresh danger. Julian's lawyers threatened the police. "We'll have them locked up," they warned. David paced the room, fists trembling. "Let them arrest me. I won't watch them humiliate you again." Daniela wept in silence. Mary begged for forgiveness, already thinking of selling what little they owned to pay for damages. But at night, while her children slept, Mary whispered to herself, "No man will destroy us again." She reached out to Michael, an old church friend, now a paralegal. He helped her file a wrongful termination claim. Small steps, quiet papers, but enough to hold on to her dignity. The twins' anger softened into guilt. "Mama," David said one night, "we only made things worse." She touched his cheek. "You are not my shame. You are my strength. Don't forget that." The hearing day arrived. Julian entered in his navy suit, calm, confident, untouched. To him, Mary was still nothing. But when the judge read her claim, the air shifted. Michael presented records of years of unpaid overtime, withheld benefits, unfair dismissal. For the first time, Julian's jaw tightened. Then, in the middle of evidence, an old file surfaced. A sponsorship record. 8 years ago, an anonymous donor had paid school fees for 2 children. The names, David and Daniela. The twins gasped. Mary's heart stopped. Julian lowered his head. His secret was out. 4 years, he had quietly sponsored their education, pulling strings to keep them in school. He had stopped when gossip spread about his closeness with Mary, afraid of scandal. Pride had silenced kindness. The twins' anger cracked, replaced by confusion. So it was him all along. Daniela whispered. David's fists loosened. They did not forgive him, but the hatred blurred into something heavier, pity, maybe even sorrow. The judge ruled in Mary's favor. Julian was ordered to pay damages, back wages, and compensation. But money wasn't the real loss. His image of untouchable strength had collapsed. Everyone now saw a man who once cared, but who let fear dictate his choices. Mary walked out with her head high. For the first time in years, she felt taller than the city's skyscrapers. Julian returned to his glass office, staring at Lagos traffic. He pulled out a framed photo of his estranged daughter abroad, a girl who refused his calls. His chest trembled. He had money, cars, power, but he had no family, no one to call his own. Mary found new work at a small community school, still cleaning but also helping children learn to read. Michael, steady and gentle, often walked her home. His kindness was quiet, with no gold, no glitter, just presence. On a Sunday morning, weeks later, Mary introduced Michael to Ruth outside the same church where her story with Julian had begun. The cracked cross still hung above, but this time, Mary didn't look at it with despair. She looked at it with peace. David and Daniela stood close, smiling at their mother's joy. They no longer burned with hatred, only with understanding. The man they smashed stones against had once saved them in silence, and lost everything to pride. Their mother, once broken, now carried herself with dignity. Lagos roared on. Traffic, horns, hustler's life, but inside Mary's heart, a quieter dawn rose. For the first time in many years, she whispered not a prayer of survival, but one of gratitude. And far away, in a glass tower, Julian sat with his photo, tears in his eyes, the sound of broken glass still echoing in his memory.